Sat Sri Akal ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ. Welcome to Spill the Lassi. Today's episode is going to be on Amritpal and Punjab. I'm your host, Harman Singh. So everybody's been asking us, what's going on in Punjab? Who's this Amritpal guy? Why is there a lockdown? Why have they cut out the internet? Why is there military? Why don't the telephones work? Why are there checkpoints? So we're going to try to clear the fog for you guys. We're going to try to give the background. We're going to explain the events that transpired leading up to this current situation. But with that being said, I'm not going to formally condemn or commend Bhai Amritpal Singh. He's a figure that's been around for a couple years. It would be hard to, get into the nuances of his views. And the purpose for this podcast, at least, is to just to get everybody up to speed on the what is going on in Punjab and why it's happening. But with that being said, myself and Spill the Lassi, we do unequivocally condemn the drastic actions taken by the Indian government. We do condemn the mass arrests. We do condemn the breaking up of peaceful protests, the fact that they've banned journalists. We condemn that they've stripped citizens of their freedom to assemble, their freedom of speech, and their freedom to dissent. Civil liberties of the citizens have been taken away, and for the most part, for no concrete reason. So we will in the future definitely do a bigger episode on probably Bhai Amritpal Singh and everything that's currently happening. But everything that I'm going to say as of today, today here it's March 21st night in California, meaning it's Wednesday, March 22nd in Punjab in the morning. Everything I'm going to say is factual as I know it. Things are moving fast. It's currently an ongoing situation. So do definitely check out the, whatever episode we make after this. But with that being said, let's get into it. So who's Bhai Amritpal Singh? So he was born in 93, which makes him 30. Back in 2012, he's born and raised in Punjab, and he moves to Dubai in 2012 to work in his family's transportation business. He originally came into my radar and kind of entered Panthic, Sikh, social media sphere during the farmers' protest. So around 2020, 2021, he's quite vocal on Twitter, on Instagram, and definitely on Clubhouse. He's regularly having debates on the farmers' issues, on Sikh issues, and he actually had a couple tweets that went viral during that time. Many of you probably shared his tweets on Instagram and didn't realize it was him then. And he's currently the Jathedar, the leader of Varis Punjab De. Varis Punjab De, Varis means heirs, so it means Punjab De, Varis Punjab De, the heirs of Punjab. And it's an organization that was started by Deep Sidhu. Deep Sidhu is a leader during the farmers' protests. We actually have an episode on Deep Sidhu, if you don't know who he is. But Varis Punjab De it's not a political organization in the sense that they don't contest seats for elections, but I would categorize them as a grassroots political organization. Their primary goal is to support Punjabis and farmers. And one main difference is that they're distinctively led by a younger generation. So Deep Sidhu was, I believe, 35, 36, and Bhai Amritpal Singh, he's 30. So, they're about 20 or so years younger than the majority of politicians in Punjab and India. And after Deep Sidhu passed away last year, the Jathabandi, they appointed Bhai Amritpal Singh to be their leader. But before Deep Sidhu passes away, Deep Sidhu was not a Amritari Sikh, right? He was a Monna. But before he passed away, he did go and give his support for Simranjit Singh Mann. Simranjit Singh Mann was elected to the Parliament of India, so not the Punjab State Legislative Assembly, but the actual Parliament of India. And Simranjit Singh Mann is a Khalistan supporter. So that's important because Varis Punjab De, from its original leader, did support Khalistan per se. And Amritpal is living in Dubai still, and he was a Monna for the most of his life. He had cut hair. He started growing out his hair and keeping his beard and tying a pag, tying a turban. And he comes back to Punjab. And when he comes back to Punjab, Varis Punjab, they have a Dastar Bandi. Dastar Bandi, meaning translating to Dastar, turban, pug, and Bandi to tie. And it's a traditional ceremony amongst Sikh Jathebandis, like Sikh groups, when they appoint a new leader, new Jathedar of their Jathabandi, they will have the prominent leaders tie the stars or turbans on that leader. And that's important for a couple reasons here, because it's probably the most famous picture of his where you see him wearing a really big dastar, because each additional leader ties another layer, right? And also because he decides to have it at Rodepin. Rodepin is important because it's Sant Jarnail Singh Pindramala's pind. And Bhai Amritpal Singh is, you know, essentially paying homage to, you know, Jarnail Singh Pindramale by doing it there. And then Bhai Amritpal Singh, after that, goes to Anandapur Sahib, where Guru Gobind Singh Ji created the Khalsa. And he takes Amrit along with, I believe, close to 1,000 of his followers. So it's kind of a big deal within the Punjab social scene at the time. And it might seem a little weird that he did it at that pin, Rode pin, but within the Punjabi culture, it's not that uncommon. Recently, Bhagwant Mann, the current chief minister of Punjab, when he was inaugurated, he decided to have his inauguration at Bhagat Singh's pind, kind of to pay homage to Bhagat Singh. And now Bhagwant Mann, also a Monna, ties a, you know, Bhagat Singh style, Bhagat Singh-esque pug. And there's also other parallels that are always being drawn between Jarnail Singh Pindramale and Bhai Amritpal Singh. So Jarnail Singh Pindramale was a Sikh leader during the 70s and 80s. He was actually the head of the Damdami Taksal. So his formal name is, you know, Jarnail Singh, Sant Jarnail Singh Pindramale. Pindramale is actually not his last name. It's actually the title of his position. So, you know, the three before him and the leader of that organization after him were also Pindramale. And that organization has its own kind of authority within Sikhi. They've been around for 250, 300 plus years. They can, you know, say their direct line of succession from, I believe, all the way since Baba Deep Singh. So Sant Jarnail Singh Pindramale had a formal religious education, whereas Bhai Amritpal Singh did not. So Pindramale was actually the leader of a Panthic group, whereas Amritpal Singh is a leader of kind of this grassroots political organization in Varis Punjab de, which has taken a religious turn. So that's one main difference. And another really big thing is the issue of Khalistan. So actually, Sant Jarnail Singh Pindramale never raised the demand for Khalistan. He was not an outspoken supporter of Khalistan, and much of the demand for Khalistan actually came after Sant Jarnail Singh Pindramale passes away during 1984 Operation Blue Star. And then we have, you know, the assassination of the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Then we have the Sikh genocide. And then we kind of have, you know, the later 80s and early 90s, this period of militancy in Punjab, where it's kind of militants versus the government. And that's the rise of the majority of the Khalistan support or demand. So whereas Bhai Amritpal Singh actually supports Khalistan. And during the 80s and 90s, it was kind of this dark period of Punjab. You had the government on one side, and they called these militants, they called them Attavadis, which means terrorist. Whereas the Punjabi people or Sikhs called them Khadkus. Khadku is derived from the word khadka, to make noise. So calling them Khadku was a phrase of endearment, kind of meaning, you know, the bold, the courageous, those that are willing to stand up to the government. And during this time, you also have a lot of, you know, rogue elements. You have strong like gunde or gangsters during this time. You have KPS Gill, the quote unquote super cop of Punjab. You have Chief Minister Beyant Singh, who's assassinated. So it's kind of this, dark cloud that's over Punjab for, 10, 15 plus years. And during this time, there's a lot of police encounters. Police, they kind of shoot first, ask questions later. And on the other side, the police points at these militants and they say that they're killing people. So it's kind of this, finger pointing, and overall the Mahol of Punjab is not the best. And also, even till this day, it is stated by Punjabis that you can go to any pind in Punjab and find at least five boys, five kids, families where five kids never returned. They were picked up by the police and they never returned. So that is something that the vast majorities of Punjabis remember. It's a big deal in our collective psyche, and it's something that most of us fear, that Punjab hopefully never has to endure a period of so much pain. And there's a lot of organizations that are still fighting for the rights of those that were disappeared or encountered by the police during that time. One of the biggest one being Insaf, an organization which name translates to literally justice. And they're fighting. They have so many ongoing cases, and almost every week, every month, they'll win a case against certain police officers or other elements that were found guilty for having picked up people during that time. But getting back to Bhai Amritpal Singh, he's actually a supporter of Khalistan, and I'm going to quote him. He says, "Our aim for Khalistan shouldn't be seen as evil and taboo. It should be seen from an intellectual point of view as to what could be the geopolitical benefits. It's an ideology, and ideologies never die. We are not asking for it from Delhi." So he's always saying he supports Khalistan, but he also says that he's not fighting for Khalistan. He's not doing a call for arms and let's go to war for Khalistan. So there is that distinction there, but he is asking for a separate state. So what does Bhai Amritpal Singh do, and his Jathabandi Waris Punjab, they do on the day-to-day? They've initiated a lot of different projects. Their main one being they're very anti-drugs, and they've also started something called Khalsa Vahir, Vahir meaning march, and it's kind of this historical things that many Sikhs or the Khalsa would do in the past, where they would go pind by pind, town to town, spreading Sikhi. So him and his Jathabandi are doing these, this Vahir, and they're very strongly against drugs. And they very openly have called out drug leaders. They very openly have called out the drug trade, and they're encouraging the Punjabi youth that are addicted to drugs to get off drugs and to take Amrit. They're also encouraging more economic growth in Punjab. They're telling people to get educated, and Bhai Amritpal Singh also interestingly talks about reverse migration, where he's encouraging us diasporic Sikhs, those in England, Canada, USA, Australia, etc., to come back to Punjab, especially those that are educated, have links in Punjab, or are entrepreneurs, and help build up Punjab back to its heights that it was in the past. And another thing about him is that he's quite a charismatic leader. That's something him and Sant Jarnail Singh Bhindranwala have in common. They were both, they can, give nice, good speeches. And Bhai Amritpal Singh also does a lot of interviews. He can speak Punjabi, English, and Hindi. So he's done interviews in all three. He also has done interviews with quite a wide range of journalists. So he's done them with those that are very obviously in support of him, and those that are very obviously hostile towards him, and then those in the middle. And he's kind of known for his quick wit. Once he was asked, where is your headquarters going to be? Where is, Waris Punjab based out of? And his response was, Dang te Dera, meaning the Dera, his headquarters, is Dang te, like it's on my sword. Like wherever this sword is, wherever we're walking, that's our headquarters. And that might seem a bit, out there for those of you not familiar with the Sikh and Punjabi culture. But that kind of line and is kind of goes in line with Sikh sovereignty, and kind of this idea that all Sikhs, regardless of gender, regardless of age, regardless of creed or caste or whatever, you're all encouraged to be good with weapons and know self-defense and stand up for others. And if you're a member of the Khalsa, you have to at all times carry a karpan, carry a sword. You're also encouraged to be good with firearms and other things. So you do see imagery of pictures of him being called a separatist or an extremist, and the justification of him being an extremist sometimes is, hey, he's carrying a sword, he has guns. And for outsiders, it does seem a bit extreme, but for those living in Punjab or familiar with Sikhs, this is, everybody's carrying kirbans in Punjab. Even the 90-year-old grandmas have a kirban. Um, so essentially, when does he have his first major interaction with or conflict with the government? And it happened about a month ago. So it happened, I believe, February 23rd in a band called Ajnala. So there was a man that went to the Ajnala police station, and he stated that he was kidnapped and beat by the associates of Bhai Amritpal Singh. So that police station issued an FIR, a first information report, and they registered it against Bhai Amritpal Singh and six of his associates. And the police then arrest one of his associates, Lovepreet Singh Tafan. So that happens, and Bhai Amritpal Singh and his Jatha, his group, they pretty much confront the police, and Bhai Amritpal Singh initially, him and his group do peaceful protests. They kind of raise their voices on social media saying, look, this has happened. Lovepreet Singh has been taken unjustly. And Amritpal Singh issues an ultimatum. He says, either you revoke the case against Lovepreet or you show the evidence. And as this is going on, a large number of people are starting to gather outside the police station. This is ongoing for a couple of days. It doesn't happen in one instance. And the police release the FIR. And the FIR shows that it was some random guy with a known history of mental illness. And right away, that guy's FIR, the locations of his incident don't match up. We know that Bhai Amritpal Singh and his Jatha are very open in exactly where they are. They're verifiably not where this guy states the abduction and beating happened. So right away, Amritpal Singh is saying, release Lovepreet Singh Tafan. You guys are, the Punjab police, Indian police is going back to their authoritarian ways and rounding up whoever they want unjustly and holding them for however long as you want. So there is a time given, and the police don't release Lovepreet. And there's kind of this clash that happens. If you ask Bhai Amritpal Singh and his Jatha, they say that the police did a baton charge, a lathi charge. And that's quite common in India. The police or the SWAT teams will go out and take out their batons and try breaking up protests. And then on the other side, if you ask the police, they say that Bhai Amritpal Singh and his Jatha attacked first. And eventually, Bhai Amritpal Singh and his Jatha meet with the head of the police, and they sit down. The videos are out there. You can watch the videos. And the police agree to release Lovepreet Singh the next day. And right away, this causes, there's huge ripples and ramifications throughout Punjabi's social media and the news media. And the news media, for the main part, was portraying this kind of like those old Western movies where you have, the gang waiting outside the police station, telling the sheriff to let their guy go. And on the other side, you have Amritpal and his Jatha saying that we're going back to the days of authoritarian police regimes in India, and these guys are doing whatever they want. They're looking for the weakest excuse to round up us. And Amritpal is saying, here is, that 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 100 times where we were strong enough to release our brother, whereas majority of the time they're not released. And on the other side, I would say the vast majority of the media took the police side. Majority of Indians, I would say, took the police side. As far as Punjabis go, I'm not entirely sure how many supported Bhai Amritpal Singh. I think that majority did not like the way things transpired there. Majority did not like to see a mob of people fighting the police, but I think a majority of them do see Bhai Amritpal Singh's point on the fact that the police does sometimes round up whoever they want without reason. So now it's late March 18th, Saturday, evening time. And a month later, right? And paramilitary forces come into Punjab. They set up military checkpoints on all the major freeways. And they claim they're trying to catch Varis Punjab. They claim they're trying to catch Amritpal and his Jatha. And the internet's shut down, telephone lines are shut down. So that was kind of what happened on Saturday. And I believe it was shut down, internet was shut down for about 2 to 3 days. And nobody knows exactly what's going on. Journalists are kind of limited. Many of them, the independent journalists, are not allowed to report at all. Their Twitter feeds are shut down. The state media is allowed to some degree. And all we know is that the government is looking for Bhai Amritpal Singh. They're trying to catch him, but we don't necessarily know exactly why or what he did. And this is Saturday. And a lot of people were saying that, hey, taking down the internet isn't that big of a thing. LOL, you can't watch YouTube. But the ramifications of that are quite severe, right? If you take down the internet, many people, I mean, here in America, most of us use text messaging or iMessage. In India, I think it's predominantly like WhatsApp and these other digital messaging groups. So you can't text anybody. Majority of people, their only access to internet is through their phone. And you also, if your phone's not working, if you were to have a heart attack or a loved one, a family member were to have some sort of medical emergency, you literally cannot call the ambulance, right? Many tech companies are based out of the major cities of Punjab, right? And those tech companies' whole business model is based off of, working online. And they're not allowed to work for these days, so there's not only the social ramifications and the civil liberties being lost, but there's definitely some economic ramifications here too. And the biggest question is, why are they doing all of this, right? And then right away, the media starts reporting that Bhai Amritpal Singh has been arrested, right? And then there's also a couple videos that surface of his quote unquote arrest, and they're quite grainy. You can kind of, in those videos, there's two angles I've personally seen where you can kind of make out, him, but you can't, I can't say that it is, purely authentic. But that was the initial thing, that Bhai Amritpal Singh, along with 78 of his followers, have been arrested by the police. And then you also see this other video of a guy in the back of a car, and you see the back of what's claimed to be Bhai Amritpal Singh's head, and they're saying he's fleeing from the police. And then once again, that video gets quite popular online. But once again, we can't say it's authentic or not. And then all of a sudden, you have the police saying, no, we did not catch Bhai Amritpal. He's still Farar, he's still at large, he's still, a fugitive. And, depending on what news channel you're looking at, they're saying different things. And it's pretty much a totalitarian nightmare in Punjab, right? There's a media censorship. Prominent journalists, can't report anything. You can't go on internet. And however, your TV stations are still working. But depending on what TV station you're looking at, they're saying different things. They're saying he's been caught. They're saying he's still on the run. They're saying that he ran away from police. They're saying that he surrendered. And it's just, questionable at best, and, totalitarian, authoritarian. There's reasonable people that, disagree with everything and anything Bhai Amritpal has ever said, that still would agree that there's no reason to be doing all of this. Most people, I would say, do agree that if Bhai Amritpal Singh was suspected of a crime, then arrest him and give him a trial. But in the back of most Punjabis' mind is, going back to the 80s and 90s, we're thinking that, there's no clear evidence of what happened, till this moment, till Tuesday, March 21st here in America. He's still, according to the police, he's at large. And that's a pretty big deal. Another big point is that India has recently kind of been rapidly declining in their free press, especially in the last 5 to 10 years. There's not much journalist integrity, and there's kind of this, thing where the waters are always being muddied by different people depending on what news station you go to or what journalist you ask. They'll say Bhai Amritpal Singh is an ISI agent, a Pakistani agent. Another channel will say he's an Aam Aadmi Party agent. Another channel will say he's a BJP agent. Another channel will say he's a agensiyan da banda. So there's, depending on what channel you turn to, there's a different outlook, and depending on if you were to ask 10 random Punjabi individuals their perspective on Bhai Amritpal, I guarantee you quite a few of them would give you varying conspiracy theories. And many of us would argue that that's on purpose. But the ironic thing is the Punjab Police's official statement, right? The official statement, if you were to check the CNN article on this, they state that they shut down the internet to quote unquote stop the spread of fake news. Yet, a reasonable person can argue that the vast majority of the fake news is being propagated by the state media, right? And majority of the people refer to and the media as quote unquote Godi media, Godi meaning lap, being in the lap of the BJP politicians. And you also have some other channels that are literally owned by political parties, PTC channel, Punjabi. So it's concerning to say the least. And there's people that are saying, he's been arrested and yet, he hasn't been produced. And then there's reasonable people saying, hey, okay, if he wasn't wrong, why did he flee? Why did he run from the police? And that's a reasonable question. I agree. However, we're not entirely sure that happened. We don't actually know what happened. It's concerning to say the least. But today, on Tuesday, March 21st, Whats Punjab's lawyer, or I guess he's considered a legal advisor, Iman Singh Khara, he came out and gave his opinion on quite a few different news channels, and he also, I think, released his own video on his social media, stating that from the events that transpired, over 125 police officers slash paramilitary forces were dispatched to Bhai Amritpal Singh to capture him. 78 of his followers were caught, yet the police are claiming that he wasn't caught. And Iman Singh is arguing that it is very unlikely he was not caught. So the legal advisor of Whats Punjab currently believes that Bhai Amritpal Singh has been caught. Secondly, the police is still saying, however, he's on the run. Then you have a bigger question of why did the police wait a month? If you were to ask, most people why all of this is happening, a reasonable person can condemn his actions during the Ajnala police station clash. However, that was a month ago. Why did they wait a month? And then another big thing is the fact that Bhagwant Mann, the chief minister of Punjab, he hasn't said much until today, actually. So from Saturday until Tuesday, he didn't say anything. And then finally, Tuesday evening, he released a statement. And I'm going to actually play part of that statement for you guys right now.
पिछले दिनों कुछ तत्व ऐसे थे जो विदेशी ताकतों के हाथ चढ़कर पंजाब में माहौल खराब करने की बातें कर रहे थे, नफरत भरी स्पीच दे रहे थे.
So I'm going to try translating. It is in Hindi, but he says for the past few days, there have been those that are trying to ruin the mahol, the climate of Punjab, and they've been giving incendiary speeches, right? And then he says,
कुछ ऐसे कानून के खिलाफ बोल रहे थे.
They're talking against our laws.
तो उन पर कार्रवाई की गई है और उस कार्रवाई के दौरान वो सब लोग पकड़े गए हैं.
So that is the most important thing he says. So he's not explicitly clear on who he's talking about, but everybody knows he's talking about Bhai Amritpal Singh Whats Punjab, and he says we have sab pakad gaye hain. Everybody has been caught, right? That's what he says. Everybody has been caught, implying that they have caught Bhai Amritpal Singh.
और उनको सख्त से सख्त सजा दी जाएगी.
And we will give them sakt to sakt. We will give them the harshest punishment possible.
क्योंकि आम आदमी पार्टी एक कट्टर देशभक्त और ईमानदार पार्टी है. पंजाब का अमन चैन और देश की तरक्की हमारी प्राथमिकता है.
So he then goes on to say that Aam Aadmi Party, the party that he's from, is an honest and a party that nationalist, I guess, are those that love India. And we are trying to keep Punjab shant, keep Punjab calm. And the irony of it all is majority, everybody would argue that it was the fact that they did this lockdown to catch one individual, the fact that they brought in the military to just catch one individual, the fact that they infringed on 28 million people's civil liberties to catch one guy, the fact that they, pretty much brought the economy of Punjab to a standstill to do all of this is the exact opposite of what they're claiming to do, which is, to preserve the mahal, the climate of Punjab. And then another major point is, why is he speaking in Hindi, right? He's the chief minister of Punjab. Up until this point, any address that I've personally seen a chief minister of Punjab make has been in Punjabi to the Punjabi people. This almost feels as if he's giving, it's in Hindi. He's giving a speech not to those inside Punjab. He's actually giving the speech to everybody outside of Punjab. And then once again, he's saying, we've caught everybody. However, the police till this moment still is saying that Bhai Amritpal Singh is Farar, Bhai Amritpal Singh is, on the run. So that's pretty much where all the facts are. Once again, it's kind of hard to have a strong opinion on everything when you're trying to build it upon these kind of shifting sands. But I think everybody would agree that the way all of this has been handled has been horrible. And this issue is bigger than Amritpal now, regardless of if you support him, if you hate him, it's almost become irrelevant. This is, an issue of why are Punjabis, why is the state of Punjab being treated like this? Why can the government just come in and arrest whoever they want, no questions asked? It's been almost 5 days and they still haven't given us, reasonable reasons for their actions. And then once again, if you ask the police, if you ask the journalist, and if you ask the chief minister, they're all telling you very different things. So that's kind of where I'm going to end this. The only call of action I'm going to say for all of you tonight is to stay vigilant. There's a lot of fiction amongst the fans. I would encourage all of you to, question the things you hear and try to find legitimate sources. I do know that Punjab always persists. Punjab will survive all of this. But I would encourage all of you to get your friends and families informed. And we will definitely be making another episode. Thank you for listening to this. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.